It sounds like we do something like that with Vimeo.
Yep. Now it's live. Now it's live. Now we're live again. So I had to, now we're live again. So I had to stop. I had to create a new stream. I couldn't, the problem basically, okay, here was the problem. The problem was I was telling it to go to a custom live stream that I had not created yet because the old one had already been used. So that's what happened.
But it worked for 15 minutes though.
No. Right. So when the meeting started, I said, go live to custom live streamer because I had set the meeting up in YouTube and it worked. Then it died for whatever reason that we haven't figured out yet. But what I'm talking about is why couldn't I get it to kick back in again? And the reason apparently is that you can't, it seems, you can't reconnect to the same stream if that stream ended. You have to create a new one.
Usually there is a bit of a buffer though. Like they usually, if they end up losing the live feed from the encoder, there's usually or YouTube will just sit there for a little bit. So it's as if Zoom sent that there was we're finished
right
command to YouTube and it said, okay, and it shut it down.
Right.
So,
I still don't see it though. However, I just went to the live tab again and did a refresh.
yeah, it's now, it's got a B. David put a B at the end of it. You will have to probably do shift and refresh on your browser.
It's definitely
to make sure it comes in. Oh, James is coming in. Oh, and here comes Ray. Everybody's coming now.
God, they're all coming to help. Help! Yeah, it's definitely there. It's definitely working now. All right, well, that was interesting. Very interesting. Where are our friends? Oh, Ray. Wait, we didn't let Ray in.
I didn't? I thought I did. Sorry. Yep, he's in there.
Hello, James.
Hi, I've got a meeting to go to, but I didn't want to waste a chance to say hi.
That's so lovely. You missed the whole show just fell apart. Like,
thanks for joining.
You weren't here to save us.
Why did it fall apart?
I don't know. We lost our stream to YouTube somehow.
Are you seeing it come back, David? Because
mine is back.
I keep refreshing and I got nothing under the live tab.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm looking at mine, right? So here's the live stream.
That's weird.
Right here.
Yeah. Make sure that you do shift and refresh. And that will actually dump your cache in your browser. And it should pop up momentarily in the live section.
All right. So if your Zoom meeting, if you're streaming it to YouTube and it ever drops and the YouTube stream ends, you cannot restream to that same custom URL, that custom stream key. You have to create a new custom streaming thingamabobber. Hi, Ray.
Cannot restream to.
Say that one more time.
Oh, was that me?
I think that was you.
No, that was probably me. I finally got the live up and my mic was stuck.
So we were hearing it play back.
So you were hearing it come back. That was my fault.
Gotcha.
I thought I heard David again. That's why I was like, I'm just saying that makes sense. That you can't go back to the same custom. And I think
right.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've streamed to YouTube to find out all their particularities. You know,
it's a real shame though, because if you've got an audience, you have to redirect the entire audience to. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You put the link in the old videos chat. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why you need it. That's why you need a
That-
mic.
And that's what, yeah, and that's why you need and this is where you need a backup encoder too, so that, as Frank was saying, as we were cut off, that you're running bars and tone on it, or please stand by comes up. Technical difficulties, as we called it in the broadcast world, tech diff.
Or Big Buck Bunny.
And yeah, have Big Buck Bunny with the Zoom Test Kitchen logo
I'm sorry.
in
what?
a loop. Oh,
What?
You're not familiar with Big Buck Bunny? Go ahead,
No.
Frank. You brought it up.
It's so stupid. I don't want to explain it.
Wait a second.
Well,
now I have to Google it. Is this
okay.
going to be bad if I Google it?
It's
No.
a video. It's a video clip. I don't know the whole history, but it's a video clip that's used for testing streaming, and it has been for probably 20 or 30 years now.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's Big Buck Bunny is quite a funny animation of a bunny. And there's a couple of bad, a squirrel, I believe a couple of squirrels that are bad guys. And it's testing there you go. So
Wait, so what does it test?
it allows you to test your encoders and such and your video feeds, and it's officially royalty free. So you can show this, David, on our channel. Without
It's a known piece of video. It's like a reference, almost like a historic reference. If you use it so often that if it doesn't play back right or sound right, you'll know right away because you're so familiar with it. Just like
This doesn't, I mean, the animation here looks relatively new and good. This is not old, is it?
Blender actually makes software. So this is actually one of their demos from the software.
Huh.
Oh, it's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of them. It's the whole full movie, the making of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The whole series.
Yeah. It is definitely my go-to when I'm testing encoders and such, and testing, making sure that my feeds are up from a live event location. I'll throw up Big Buck Bunny, make sure that I'm seeing it in the YouTube studio as a feed coming down. Yeah.
I think
It's
20
just
or 30,
motion.
20 or 30 years ago, I think it was challenging to stream this because it's got animation, it's got lots of different colors. It was a really good test piece of material that
Interesting.
allowed you to test a bunch of things on your stream at the same time.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and the initial version was not in 4K, and David is looking at the latest version, which is 4K 60.
I don't know if you're familiar, but in like big lecture halls where you've got like 4K data projectors, there's reference Blu-rays or things that you would bring back in the day to calibrate the colors to do the 5.1 surround or whatever it is, and there's still stuff like that today that you buy, and you can get similar things for your home that you can play in your house to calibrate your TV if you're into trying that sort of thing, or you can have a professional come and calibrate your home theater. But there's reference materials for calibrating audio video signals.
See,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here just wowed by the animation. I mean, I think about animation from when I was growing up, Bugs Bunny, and I mean, this is 10 years old. This is just,
Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, and
it's
you
just
should.
amazing. Just
They
amazing.
they do have a couple others as well. If you take a look at Blender's main YouTube channel, David, you'll see that they have a couple other ones as well. If you're into they have like sort of like a Halloween horror type one as well. You'll see it there.
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago I had some scopes up? I had a waveform and a vector scope up.
Sure.
And I told you there's other scopes like RGB and Parade and stuff. Like people who really are involved in professional streaming, professional broadcasting, use reference standards. We joked earlier about 1K tone and bars. Those are things that people use to calibrate to make sure everything's legal and being transmitted correctly and encoded correctly. This is just sort of in that milieu anyways.
Yeah. Wow. It really is pretty amazing. It really is. And Mike put bars up. Thanks, Mike.
Don't put up tone, you might get a strike.
Really?
If somebody's got tone in something they're doing, sometimes, even though tone is royalty free, if it's in a program on YouTube, you might get a strike, and they'll have to challenge it and say, "Hey, this is
Isn't
tone. You can't."
Is it like that?
That's 1K tone, yeah.
Yeah, that's 1K tone.
Yep.
That's
Easy to recognize.
That's my censor button. When I get really
That's not its true purpose, though.
No, that's how you calibrate the audio when you're ready to go for broadcast.
No, this actually is meant to be a sensor button. This is just on the Rodecaster Pro. Like, this is not.
I think in the early days of broadcasting, the guy at the audio console would just mute the mic and hit tone because that was the easiest way to bleep things out.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the world of podcasters now have that in the button.
Tone became the sensor button.
Yeah, before there were things like delays and stuff in radio stations and TV stations. Somebody had their finger hovering there, and if you started to say something that wasn't allowed by the FTC or whatever governing body in your geographic location, they would hit the tone.
Huh. Hint, when there's award shows and you have the latest, artist going up on stage, that's why there's a huge disclaimer now. If there's not a huge disclaimer, they're definitely, Frank, 5-second delay, 10-second delay? What is it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Then they will actually put a delay on if they don't have the full disclaimer that this viewer discretion is advised. Where this is a live event, anything can happen. Viewer discretion is advised. They have to put that up because they haven't paid for a crew to actually sit there to make sure that they bleep that out or take out the certain sections of inappropriate content.
Yep.
So who's watching this one to make sure inappropriate content doesn't?
That would be David.
I've got to go, but I wanted to stop in and see what you guys were talking about, and if there was anything new on the Zoom thing that you were testing. I did notice that where the record now shows up in a different spot when you're recording. Kind of outside the window. And so I was kind of like, well, what else has changed? One thing is it's always going full screen to me now, even though I've set maintain current screen. I keep on getting Zoom popping up full screen. So
is that when you leave or go into a breakout room? Because that's known behavior. That's a bug that Zoom knows about that they're working on.
Yeah, but this hasn't been that.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, but I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Take care, James. So Michael on YouTube is saying that now we have 2 live streams on the channel, the one that died earlier and the current one now. But the one that died earlier is, I don't think it's
not still streaming. No.
Yeah.
But he may not have got to the end of the stream yet. So, depending when he started watching it, he may not have run into the end of it.
True.
It's 25 minutes long.
Yeah. On the YouTube page, there's only one in the live section. Actually, wait, let me click on live. Right. So there are 4 people watching the live now. And this is the old one. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was 25 minutes long.
Yep.
I wonder how many people there were before the stream dropped. Quite often when you drop a stream, you lose a big chunk of your audience and they don't come back.
I don't blame them.
We went from 11 down to 4.
If there's some yutz who doesn't know how to stream to YouTube from Zoom like me, I don't blame them.
That's statistically significant change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think it was something.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave. Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say that again. To me, I feel that it was something between Zoom and YouTube that happened there, because as far as we were concerned, it was still sending it because David didn't actually stop the feed because it still said custom live service available. So I think something just happened between the actual Zoom servers and YouTube at that particular moment, which is great. But because it was too much of a hard cutoff, usually, again, if you're normally streaming to YouTube, YouTube is very patient because they know that encoders die. So they do have a bit of time where, unless they've been told that it's dead, that you've sent the end command of the actual stream, then and only then will it actually cut off. It usually gives a bit of a buffer of time because people lose internet connections from their location. So it'll sit there and wait. It'll give everybody the, buffering that it's waiting. And you'd be able to go into stats for nerds if you're in the actual player to actually see if they're getting any data sent to YouTube. But as far as the client is concerned, that would be the only way of knowing or not. But yeah, it almost acted as if Zoom said, nope, they stopped it. Here's the stop command. YouTube said, okay, and they shut it off. But we don't officially know.
We don't. We don't. Ray, how are you, my friend?
Good, good. I was actually following some of the live stream while I was taking care of some other tasks and stuff, and it was like, oh, okay, let me come join.
Anything going on in your neck of the woods that's interesting?
Nothing I haven't already reported, really. Yeah, nothing new at this point.
Nothing new. Is this a quiet time for? I mean, I know we're waiting for Zoom Docs and all that other stuff that's supposed to be, all that other goodness that's coming. That's supposed to be coming in 2024.
For me, it's fairly quiet. January and February. I've got 2 events lined up in March and probably a third. In fact, there's some overlap between the two, and I've engaged one of my associates from the UK to do one of them. So, but October and November were really busy, and I try to keep it quiet in December. I don't like to do a lot of holiday stuff, and so there's some market for that, but I don't do that.
I know that Ray Franklin was very busy with CES, and if any of you are interested, well, now it's over, but or it will be over soon, actually. But over in after hours, they had an IV on a cart, all rigged up, that with an Insta360 link, I think it was, that they were walking around, and they were getting more looks with the IV and the cart and the Zoom and now this other stuff than they were trying to show us in after hours what was happening at CES, but they were getting more looks and people were taking pictures of.
That's how I actually met John and Guy in person. They were doing that at Zoomtopia, and it's like, I turned around, I was like, I know these guys.
Yeah. Now Zoom is not at CES. It looks like it says, or at least they are not a featured exhibitor. This is the list of featured exhibitors, and they are not here. I wonder. Well, let me actually do a quick search. Let's see if they come up at all. They are not at CES at all. Anyone have any insights as to why? I mean, they don't sell consumer devices, so maybe.
Correct. That officially, again, the Consumer Technology Association is consumer, the C part of CES is consumer, right? So even when, I'm trying to remember who was walking, David, who was walking around with the cart yesterday?
Oh, Guy.
Yeah, when Guy was actually going into the booths, some of the booths were actually saying we were asking broadcast or NAB-ish questions while we're in after hours. But again, a lot of people are going, well, we're not talking about that stuff here. Full stop. So, it's not that it wasn't the same person that would be at NAB, but we're not talking about that stuff. And actually, Guy did actually get a dirty look in when he went into, was that Canon? David, did you see that yesterday?
Yeah, I did see that actually. I mean, all right. So, and this goes back to what we were talking about before about, Zoom really being focused on business. But, the AARP, they don't sell consumer electronic devices. I don't know. They
make recommendations though.
Yeah. Reddit does. I don't know. It's interesting to me. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the CES show is quite different. Again, it depends on the market that you're in. Again, this would not be necessarily for installers. That would be more Infocom. NAB is more for the broadcasters, and now streaming, now video conferencing is throwing themselves in there. But Infocom would be more video conferencing for sure. That's why for sure that Zoom will be at Infocom. That's would be almost a no-brainer for me to even think that they wouldn't be. Because again, that is their full market because the integrators that come to Infocom will do Zoom rooms. They will develop the whole room where they'll use Lenovo products. They'll use that have been certified by Zoom to be put into these rooms. So that's not a surprise for them to be at CES. Again, CES has always been known for new TVs, new PCs, more specifically laptops, the newest and latest personal tech in health. So, if you want count how many steps you are, your type of, health related products, and Ivy is in that section. That's the section that they've actually gone into, is in I believe they call it the startups section of the show. And they basically have their own little booth there. And that's where John, and I think John is for sure there. I don't know if John has anybody else there with him, but John's in the booth, the Ivy booth.
Plus sponsorships cost $80,000 a piece.
Oh, it's not a cheap show to go into. No.
And you look at the Sony booth, which is what, like 2 football fields or something. The amount of money they must have paid for that booth, unbelievable.
And needless to say, all the people and all the manpower and everything else to set up the booth in time within only so many days, and the logistics alone of just getting that done properly and everything working, and as Frank was talking about, calibrated, et cetera, to make sure that it looks the best. Because who is the biggest industry people that come to this? Media. So they have to impress the media.
It really should be called a media electronics show. It's not. It's really, because it's really not about. It gets to consumers through the media. It doesn't. Consumers don't go, do they?
Right.
Some do.
Exactly. Because again, to just get into the trade show area, you're paying almost $350 US, unless you have a free code from one of the booths. So it's, never mind travel, lodging, if you're out of Las Vegas as well. So it's not a cheap show to go to. And some of the larger media companies are actually not going to CES much longer. That seems to be a bit of a trend that's been happening over the last couple of years as well. But it's a good show. It just depends on the market, or the type of products that you need. One of the big things that I've noticed in CES this week, again, I wasn't there, but remotely seeing a lot of the media talking about was invisible TVs. So these would be TVs during the day when you're actually not watching the TV. It's taking that TV as a frame situation and going that next step of it basically turning itself into like some of the examples they were doing was actually turning it into a fish tank when you're not watching TV. And then when you're ready to watch TV, the actual black portion will come up in front of the actual screen part, so that it darkens the screen in the back. And then you can turn it on and start watching your movies or TV or whatever content you're going to do. So it's sort of bridging the two different worlds of consumer television and digital signage, so that it's sort of digital signage is on all the time. So again, you could also have your weather up there all the time. So it'd be equivalent to having your Android TV type unit on all the time, showing weather forecast for your local area, or you could have whatever screensaver per se on the TV going all the time. But they don't want you to ever, quote unquote, shut the TV off ever. Did anybody else check out CES online, if not remote, just to see what was the latest and greatest?
I haven't been there in years. It's probably been more than a decade since the last time I went. It was just everything's just, I don't know. There was nothing there that interested me at all.
Yeah, again, you'd have to be fairly interested or in the industry of consumer products to actually, this would be your show, right? It's the other thing that I thought was kind of hilarious that was in the startup area as well was two different products that was interesting. One was actually binoculars, but it was binoculars that was focused for bird watchers. So people that would actually go to, as they would go around, they would use their binoculars to find birds as they're doing their bird watching. But this took binoculars to the next level where AI was actually built into the binoculars and would let the person know what that actual bird is that they're looking at. And they actually were doing live demos at the show about that. And they took it one step further where you could actually take video through the binoculars while you're zoomed in on the so basically turn the binocular into a video camera and also a still photo camera, as well as being able to live go on the internet, get the AI that's built into it so that it can query and know that, oh, this bird is XYZ bird. And it'll give you that live data as you're looking at the bird.
Lois will be here in any second now that you've said that.
Yes, actually, Lois might actually think that would be pretty cool, actually, I think. Not entirely sure. But yeah, that was interesting. Another one was a dog watcher that was a robot. Again, another interest. Did you see that one, David?
That bugged me, though.
Yeah,
talk about being a lazy parent to a pet.
Yeah, it basically fed the dog as you were away. Basically, you could pop up in its little face, remotely come in and start talking to the dog. And of course, and this robot will detect if your dog is feeling upset or getting anxiety because the parent is away from the dog, and will notify you via its app and all this fun stuff. I know, David, I know.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I have a dog at home, and I pay a service to come walk her every day. Maybe I could save some money with the robot. I don't know, but I don't know. Hey, by the way, just as an aside, upcoming scheduled maintenance, Frank says. Actually, just want to, the other day I was doing, someone wanted to record, they had 3 or 4 different people, they were recording a play. And so I set it up so that they all came in to Ecamm as interview guests, and then I had the background and I did all the switching and all the other garbage. We recorded about 2 takes. That was only about a 5-minute video. We recorded 2 takes, and then I said, you know what? Let's hop over into Zoom and let's do it there. I don't know what the secret sauce is, but it is just so much more stable, because these are not folks that are, with Ethernet. I mean, one's on an iPad, one's, half a mile away from her router. And so I don't know what the secret sauce that Zoom has is, but it's just, for every complaint about what Zoom has or doesn't have, the stability and the consistency, it's just like no other tool that I've used. It's just, I was reminded of that. And we ended up using the Zoom one. We didn't have all the fancy stuff that I can do on Ecamm, but the audio was better, the video was better, there was no choppiness, there was no clicking, there was nothing. It was just solid. It got the job done.
So is there like a way that you could send links to people, David, so that they can come in and it'll connect you to your Ecamm? Is that similar like vMix?
So yes, right, but it's not through Zoom. It's through their own system. And it's fine. Like, it's fine. I use it every week. I did a show yesterday with it. It's fine, but it's not as solid as Zoom. There's more latency, there's more whatever. Now they are working just like Mimo Live did. And you said it's in vMix 27, right?
Yes.
Zoom integration, yeah.
So and Wirecast too.
And Wirecast too, yeah. So Zoom is working on that. Excuse me, Ecamm is working on that. It's supposed to be out in the next beta. We haven't had a beta since before the new year, so I'll have to. Nothing's happened yet, but I almost reached out to the ZoomISO guys actually, just to say, oh, now I get it. Like, I mean, I got it, but now I really get why you would want to have a tool to grab Zoom feeds and bring them in somewhere, because Zoom just does what it does better than anyone else. In any case, why is there going to be? Did they say anything, Frank, about the maintenance, or is it just scheduled and that's it?
No. So generally speaking, sometimes maintenance is just maintenance, but sometimes maintenance means new features. So every time I see something like that, my ears perk up and I watch for a few days to see. 'Cause lots of times they do them on the weekend, and then Monday or Tuesday there'll be new features. If they don't roll it back, sometimes they announce things, they hit a snag, and then they don't release on time. But it's always a clue there might be something coming.
And usually that link that Frank gave us in chat, which I could post in YouTube, is they will, in the status, if they did do it, you will see for sure that it did happen. And they won't go specific to the feature, but they will let you know that they're doing something.
Right.
I have to say, by the way, this is a very weird web page for Zoom.
No, it's
No?
That's not actually Zoom's. That's actually that's status. What were they called? Status.
No, but it's at Zoom. But it's Zoom.us.
I know, but what you're looking at is another company that builds status boards for lots of companies.
Yeah, a lot of big companies.
I have probably 5 products that use this company's status. I actually have a status page with them, Status.io or something. I can't remember right now, but so Zoom
it's at the bottom.
Zoom is on there.
At the bottom, you'll see who the actual company is.
Yeah.
But the purpose of this page is to tell you when something isn't working, especially if you're like the administrator of a large amount of Zoom users, and you think, oh, that's unusual that 17 people are all having the same problem right now. This is the first place I go to see what's going on with Zoom. Are there service degradations? If you go to the very top, like all this stuff is historical that you're looking at. The part that matters to me is all these green. Scroll down, like Zoom Chat. Is Zoom Chat running? Yeah, it's operational. If it's yellow, there's degradation. If it's red, the service is down, and it usually says the service is down, and then you scroll to the bottom for more details. And then as they triage it, they'll put updates every 30 minutes saying service is still out, or service is coming back in a day, or they'll tell you what's going on. Each company kind of does it a little differently, but
And what I've actually done is, instead of me babysitting the webpage, I actually have the alerts actually sent to me via email.
Yeah, you can subscribe to the page.
But
it's in the
again,
top right corner.
Yeah, that's me geeking out a little too much because I'm
but I think it's normal. Like I subscribe to many companies' status page through this company because I'm in charge of those products, or I support all those products, and I want to know right away when there's an outage.
Oh, guys, help me find the motorcycles. 1, 2, 3. Am I not a? Hold on. Am I a human being? Yes, I win. Yes. It's so stressful.
But David, be forewarned, you will get bombarded a bit. Oh, and here comes Lois. She must have heard me talking about the birds.
I already get a lot of updates from Zoom. Like every time they release something, it may be that I've just double subscribed to this, to like a different email. But
well, no, you can subscribe to. So if you go to the support pages, like let's say you go to the Zoom release page, you can subscribe to that as well. Although I read recently that, I don't know if it's true, I haven't investigated, somebody was saying on the community forum they don't let you subscribe anymore. I don't know if that's true or not. I'd have to go look.
Let's see. So let me sign in first because I think they're gonna. Not going to let you subscribe to something if you're not signed in. Okay. So I wonder where that would be.
If you just go to the very top and in the search bar type release notes, you'll get there pretty quickly.
Oh, well, yeah, release notes, I know. I know you can subscribe to
Well, there's
those.
lots of other pages too. It depends what you're talking about.
So each page has its own.
Yeah,
Look
there's
at this.
different pages you can subscribe. At least you used to be able to.
Yeah, but
assume
look at
you still
this.
can.
This is terrible, actually. If you
If
look for.
If you go up to support, because right now you're getting everything. If you click on the support tab at the top, it'll filter the results. You're getting the community
Product
noise.
support.
No, just not even there. Back.
Sorry, support.
Just go one page
Yep.
back. If you see the highlighted, you've got all under the search bar. If you go,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I
then
gotcha.
you'll get the actual support
Yeah.
pages and not all the noise from the community and all the other stuff.
Gotcha. Right here, go to support. I understand. Oh, but
so-
it's still not great.
No, but if you even click on the first one, then you can get the breadcrumb trail in the like once you get on the page, once the page loads. Now, if you see at the very top, above all the listings, you'll see home release. I can't read that, but
Home release notes and then Zoom releases by product.
Yeah, and then you can go to the thing you're most interested in.
Right. But okay, so we want.
So you might want to go. You might want to go to the client or something, right?
Right. So let's do Mac releases by product, because this whole
And then
subscribe
there is a
goes to
subscribe button there.
Yeah.
So that's somebody was saying that had gone away, and I hadn't investigated, but it appears to be false. It's still available.
I've now subscribed to this, I'm sure, about 12 times. Hi, Lois.
Hi, but I don't think that they would send it 12 times to the same email address.
Oh no, I'm sure I've been logged in with multiple email addresses.
No, yeah.
When you go to your personal account up there, you've logged in, can you go to your personal account and will it show you what you're subscribed, what you're getting? Usually they'll have something like that, and then you can see which ones you're getting.
So this is my support dashboard. You can see any requests that you have. My watch. I don't even know what. Hold on, I don't even know who I'm logged into right now. Look, can I just see who I'm logged in as? How do I know who I'm logged in as?
Look at the
Zoom account. God bless you. Okay, I'm that account. Okay, so let's go to.
Can you click on your name and your account name? It should give you a whole list of things
List of things of what?
that pertain to you.
I'm not sure I'm following you.
It is my belief, it may be incorrect, that if you go and look at your own account, you can see what you are subscribed to.
Right. So I'm in my account right now.
Let me get this screen bigger so I can see what the heck.
Here, there you go. I'm in my account right now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where it would show. I wonder if that would be on like a
On the
support page.
far
though.
left, there's a thing that starts with profile, meetings, etc. Down there where it says settings and data and privacy, wouldn't one of those be, no, that's your settings. Okay, try data and privacy.
No.
No.
Zoom's
right,
various
let's move on.
back-end services are a little bit disjoint. They're actually a conglomeration of data from a number of different vendors, and some of those data pieces don't speak to each other. So,
Okay, so I was wrong.
If I had to guess, if there was a listing of what you're subscribed to, it would be on a support page. It wouldn't, if I had to guess. But I don't know. You missed it. We were talking about birds, Lois.
Oh, what? Which bird?
I have no idea. I wasn't really listening.
I
to what
will-
was talking about.
binoculars. We were talking about binoculars.
Oh, good. Bausch and Lomb is my favorite. Zeiss is my second favorite. And when I go to get binoculars, I stand in the store at the front window and I look out at the parking lot. And I want to be able to look down and see the front bumper of the car that's 6 feet away from me in focus. And I want to be able to look at the horizon and see that in focus. That's how I figure out what binoculars to buy.
There was a new pair of binoculars that released at CES this week, Lois, that might be of interest. This one has built-in, I have the specs up here. It has built-in functionality of AI. So it'll let the bird watcher know as you're viewing the actual bird, what specific bird that is. It will get that live information and spit it out on the screen for you. You can videotape it through those binoculars as well as take a picture.
Cool.
All built in.
Did you know?
And
Sorry.
The question I would have is, where is the bird ID information coming from? In other words, are they going to Carnell? Are they using one of the apps? Are they making it up on their own?
Did you know
Good
that if you go to zoom.us/test,
Huh?
that it will start a meeting for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
help you configure your system too a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that
Rad.
actual link is actually built into the client where it says if you go into settings, you can actually say start test meeting now, I believe. Where is that? I'll find it. Yeah, I found that the other day, as a matter of fact. And that was in the
That's pretty common in web conferencing tools. Most web conferencing platforms have a test module.
Mhm. Yeah, Skype has had one for years.
Yeah, Skype had one for years and years.
I just did not know that.
That's cool.
You can't like hang out there. It kicks you out as soon as you're done checking. But
Yeah.
And
so wait,
Yeah,
where
it's-
did you say
if
that's
two
in?
people went in, you wouldn't be in the same room.
No. Where did
Yeah,
you say
I'm-
that's in settings?
I saw it in the client. I saw it in settings, and I'm trying to think if it was where's that. And Ray and Frank, if you can help me, by all means.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
if you
looking
just-
around too.
If you click on your microphone or your camera and you go more, you can get there that way too. right,
Oh
to your
yeah,
settings.
but wait a second. It wouldn't make sense to have it in meeting settings because you're already in a meeting, so you can't join a test meeting.
Oh, it actually might not be there right now.
Yeah, that
could be
doesn't
true.
make sense.
Not
Yeah,
while you're in a meeting.
Yeah, but
right. It might be
yeah,
there when you're not in a meeting, right?
Right. Yeah, it's either in the audio section or the video section. I can't remember. It was definitely one of those two because that's the one I religiously before joining any meeting go into the video, test my video, and audio test my
Although
audio.
no, you don't. But if you for those you don't
jump out and go and look at it and be right back.
you don't need to go into a meeting to test those. I mean, those are if you just open your client and go into settings. Here you've got you can check your camera, and here you can check your audio. So
Do you
don't
know
need-
how many people don't know about this though?
Yeah.
It's
They're
true.
always like, "How can I? I'm trying to troubleshoot something. How can I test it? I don't have anyone to test it with." They have no
Well-
idea this exists.
Yeah, the truth is, I kind of don't blame them. I mean, I'm not sure that, again, for those of us who live in these spaces, knowing that this little guy up here is where you access settings, that makes sense. But for someone else, I think it wouldn't kill them to have a button that says, test or help me get ready or something right there that just pops people. I know they want to keep the UI clean and whatever, but
So
Since you've
I hopped
sorry.
and looked at the settings when I was not in a meeting, and it is not there. I think the only way I could find it would be to go to zoom.us/test.
Easy enough to bookmark.
Mhm.
or just open the client and use the tools right there. Because the tools are there for you.
But
Yeah.
there's more that they're testing on Zoom when you're in a meeting. I mean, they're looking at your connectivity too, aren't they?
No, they're not. Not on this test that I just did. All it is it's Zoom doesn't actually do anything. They just kind of open a pretend room and they ask you, can you see your camera? Can you hear yourself? It's the same testing that you can do in the settings, but it's
But it's all in one place.
right, exactly.
Better because they wouldn't have to know what a carrot was.
I think you're right. I agree with you. That's why I was just saying to have a little button right in the client.
That would be nice.
Although, right.
Zoom does.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Zoom does have a built-in network connectivity tool in the client. If you press Control-Alt-Shift-D on Windows or Command-Option-Shift-D on Mac, it will do ping and trace route and all that stuff, and how many hops and jitter and packet loss and everything.
Say again, the Mac command, I need to tell a friend this.
The problem, Lois, is I'll put a link to the whole support document. You kind of have to know what some of that stuff means. So if the person has that knowledge, I'll put the support article in the link in the chat for you right now.
Right, so here it is. This is so I pressed the magic thingamabob that he said to press. So you can do a network test, a phone test, a meeting test.
Which might probably goes to the test.
Yes,
website
it
too.
says, right, yeah, it says to test the quality of your network, your microphone and camera will be accessed to simulate a virtual meeting. Access to, wait, let's just see what happens. Check the most recent meeting connection. Let's do this one. Unable to test because you have a meeting in progress.
Yeah, right. you would end this meeting if they allowed it. Do you have a second machine?
I do. Yeah, let me do that. Let's see.
And David, while David's looking there too, Lois, I ended up sending you a link to both the binoculars.
Oh, thanks.
Remind me of the key command again. D, right? Okay, I got it. Okay. So let's get out of this and let's go over to this. All right, so here we go. So let's do a meeting test and check a test meeting connection. All right. So now it opened up all of this stuff. Okay, so now I'm just in a pretend meeting.
If you expand that window a bit, you can see the statistics are loading, but it's truncated.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'm going to make this bigger. So,
David, if you could, for YouTube, so they can see you full screen.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so is this everything that I'm showing? This is everything I should be showing here, right? And I'll try and zoom in for us a little bit. So we've got checking the test, statistics, 30 kilobits send. I don't know what any of this means. Wired, cloud, you're connected to real-time service. Yeah, I mean, this is fun, but I have no idea what any of this means.
There's other tabs there too, right?
So there we go. Look at that. Okay, so here's the audio. Can I zoom in on this?
Yeah, and again, a lot of that, they're reproducing that from the actual client as well. You would see a lot of that stuff in the statistics section of the client.
Right.
Try video and screen sharing.
Look at that. Nothing's coming in on video.
Because you're not in a real meeting over there, right? You're not connected to anybody else, or?
Well, no, not to anyone else, but this is the server.
I know. I'm just saying you're probably not going to have a lot of traffic compared to
But are you sending any video out of there, David? Because you're sending audio.
No. This is if you're not connected with another person, the Zoom client's smart enough to not send your video anywhere.
That's
so
unless you're
so what's the point of this though? What's the point of the meeting test then?
You're looking at your web server. You're looking at your real time.
No, but I'm saying why have this tab here if it's incapable of giving you that data?
Put a chat or copy the link to that meeting and I'll join by my phone or something. I don't know.
Well, let's see. I wonder, can I? Copy link. Everyone. All right, I'll put it in here.
Do you have a meeting ID?
Yeah, I just sent it to you in the chat.
Post it. But I better not click on that or I'd leave this meeting. But David, you're in video If you go to the right, it says screen sharing. What is that? What's in that tab?
Nothing, because I'm not screen sharing. If I were to screen share, then presumably that would show something.
It looks like this particular test bed is made for more than one use to me. I mean, that's what it seems like.
All right, so now let's see.
Oh, you've got participants.
Right, so now that a participant, now it tells me what's being sent. I still can't see what I'm receiving. Oh, what?
Because now you.
Now I can. Now I can. Now I can see what's being received.
So you.
So again, I mean, this is you can get all of this in the client, and I'm not. This is not a real complaint. This is an observation. It seems silly to me to have a functionality to test your audio and video when by default it's a fake meeting that no one else is going to come to.
There's this is a suite of tools, right? There's other tests you can run, and I think there's a way to export this and send it to a Zoom support ticket so that an engineer can look at it and go, okay, we see the problem.
Yes. So when I stop the meeting, then I've got an export log button up here. Absolutely.
So there's value in that.
It's not a complaint. It's just,
I think it's great, because most people don't have any idea how to do a trace route or any of those kind of tests that most people wouldn't have any clue. A Zoom engineer can direct you. Like if you open a support ticket, a Zoom engineer can say, well, now it's built in, open this thing, do this thing, and then hit export and send that to me via email or add it to your ticket. And now I have the logs,
Right.
If you're smart enough that you can interpret some of that, if you know stuff about networking, then you can probably say, oh, I see I'm losing packets or whatever. But if you don't know how, then it's quite useful that it's built in, I think.
Yes.
And remember that you have to know the magic sauce in order to even get here. It's not a button that
Good
one
point.
can push.
Yeah.
So it's for the folks who are a little more involved.
Right. For the people who actually can talk to a support specialist.
Right.
Or follow instructions.
We had that conversation a little
As we
earlier.
discussed, exactly. Right.
People on a free account, they can't even talk to a support specialist. So.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't? You mean you're forbidden to, or you don't think they have the brains to?
You do not have the capability of reaching a live tech support specialist if you're on a free account.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Ray this question, not to put you on the spot. Have you ever tried the email address customercare@zoom.us?
Yeah.
And what happens on the other end of that?
Depends on your account.
Okay, so they go, oh, you're not entitled. Sorry, we're not going to respond or can't help you.
In fact, I just had a meeting with a customer support representative earlier this week, and because I don't spend $2,000 a month, I don't have an assigned person, but I have the email address, and I sent an email address to them to ask a question. My question basically was, how do you get a customer support account rep? And they said basically anyone could write to this address, but you get a dedicated person if you spend more than $2,000 a month.
I have a dedicated person, but it's because of where I work, right?
Well, and the same thing, really, it's kind of interesting. I thought that was the case for an account manager who, does some things for you as well. And I'm still not confused where the demarcation line is between the CSR guy and the account guy.
I have both. The account guy is mostly about contracts and billing.
Sure.
And the other guy is about tech support.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that might have solved my 10-day Zoom events issue from back in November, right into those people. But then in our little meeting, the guy also gave me an email address of someone who is the kind of the renewals manager. And he says, basically, you'll hear from her a month before your annual renewal time, and we'll go over your stuff and decide what you want to renew and what you don't.
The other thing that happens is not my account manager, but my customer success manager, or whatever it's called, can also hook me up and elevate me to Zoom engineers. So second or third tier support, I can escalate immediately, and then If it's something very strange or very unusual, I can actually talk to a Zoom engineer. They can connect me if I say, hey, they'll say, okay, we'll get you one, and they'll book an appointment for me.
Cool. Yeah, I got a couple of resources I didn't know I actually had when I had my discussion with Bob. Got Bob and Chris now. Bob's my customer success guy, and Chris is my account.
What's nice for me is my account guy is actually in Toronto, so he's a Canadian and we're Canadian, so it's nice that he's in my region and he knows what I'm talking about, there's cultural differences between the countries. Right?
Yeah, both of my guys are in the Philippines, so.
Very cool. Very interesting. We were actually talking about Zoom events in the first video. Ray, did you have any thoughts? I know that you actually run it, and I know David was saying that he was running into complexity understanding the terminology. I think would be the fair way of saying that, David, correct?
Sure.
When it came to Zoom events?
I did not just, I found it, in vanilla Zoom, there's hosts and co-hosts. It's just very plain and simple. And when you get over there, you've got hosts and co-hosts and owners and editors and this and so it's just different, not bad, just different.
Well, the analogy that I like to throw out with these is that if you're going to just host a meeting with a few friends, it's like taking your car around the block for a tour of the neighborhood. If you're going to host a webinar with a whole bunch of people and you're going to have some speakers and you're going to do some presentations and so forth, it's like driving an 18-wheeler. There's a little bit of extra knowledge, but it's still kind of driving around the neighborhood, but you're going out on the interstate. If you want to do Zoom events, it's like getting on a 747 in the pilot seat and there's still a wheel and some pedals and go faster and go slower and stop and turn, but there is a level of terminology you have to come to grips with. And I like to delineate the two words complex and complicated. Complicated to me is something that you just can't wrap your arms around regardless of how much you know. And complex is something that you can understand once you understand the terminology around it. And I go straight to the Zoom events documentation daily to confirm what I think I know. And about half the time I'm pretty close. And about half the time it's like, oh, I didn't realize this occurred. I mean, yeah, it's a level up for sure.
And for good reason. I mean, it's the product itself is.
But there's a lot.
The other thing that I will say is that I've sort of started talking about being a Zoom event navigator. Really, how I treated my New Zealand client, and I brought him into a demonstration. I showed him how to basically update events, sessions, speakers, and those sorts of things. And then he and a group of 4 or 5 volunteers on a weekend just kind of went in and did everything. And the only thing I really did was kind of uploaded some shell stuff that I had in a CSV file for them. They went to it from there.
I just think there's some scaffolding there, though. If you were foreign to any kind of Zoom service whatsoever, and you tried to start at Zoom events, that might be a little overwhelming. But if you started off in Zoom meetings, and then you progressed to Zoom webinars, and then you maybe tried your hand at sessions, you're building your way up to events, and then really you've conquered most of the stuff, and now it's just the event stuff you have to incorporate. So you can get there. It's just I wouldn't want to start there.
Yeah, you wouldn't take a guy out of the backwoods that had never seen any automobiles before and put him in a 747 and ask him to fly it. Yeah. But the other thing that in my view is there are several layers that are also involved. You've got the whole sponsors and exhibitors and expo thing that is kind of separate. You've got this lobby thing. There's a whole different layer of I wouldn't necessarily say complexity. There's a whole bunch of different questions you have to ask yourself in terms of registration and how you want people to get to your event. Do you want it to be, everyone has to have a ticket when they come in the door and we give you a wristband so we know where you've been and all that sort of stuff? Or do you just want to open the doors and let people in? A couple of things that you really do have some control over. But what I find is with some of my clients and some of the people on the areas that I visit, they haven't made the time investment to understand how these things actually work. And they go, well, I can't read about it anywhere. Well, it's kind of out there. But the reality is, if you have a license, all you really have to do is create an event and play with it. And just, all of us have gone, I don't know how to fix this thing, but I'm going to tap on this part. Well, that didn't work. And I'm going to tap on this part. Oh, now it works. The same thing really in Zoom events. It's like, I don't really quite understand how that's going to work. And I've just gone in and created a test event and do some stuff and then go, oh, that's how that works. That learn by doing.
By the way, we've lost that a little bit. That let's bang on it until it worked. Like I can't tell you how many times people ask me to help them do something. I have no idea how to get it done, but I press enough buttons that eventually it works.
Yes.
And we're afraid to tinker, to play, to explore, it's I don't know. It really feels like we've I don't know. Maybe we iPhones and everything has become so simple that
it's not simple. What I think, David, is that there are many places for quick answers. Well, if you've got this problem, well, click here, and enter a number, and you're done. But many of life's problems aren't really solvable like that.
Right.
To be fair to Zoom events, if you were going to learn HubSpot or Eventbrite or any of the other competitors, you'd have to put just as much effort in. It's not just Zoom events. It's got this issue. Any of these big platforms have this issue. You have to invest the time if you want to use them.
Ray, have you had any issues when you dealt with future clients that are already into the event world, that are already doing like trade show event?
Well,
have they been able to migrate?
That's how I get some of my clients. Really, is that they get a client. One lady from New York was putting on a Zoom event for the New York City Department of Child Services. They use a different terminology. And it was 4 Wednesdays in a row. And she got the license and was like, I don't really know what I'm doing. She found me. I gave her the barest minimum really of sort of orientation of here's how it all kind of falls together and how it works. And she took it and ran with it. If that's kind of what you're asking, yeah, many of them come to me, I've got this license and I don't know what to do. And within a couple of days, I get them oriented, and then I sort of stay on board like a navigator, and like, well, now I'd like to go off on this tack and do this thing. I can either go sort through a whole bunch of documents and read a bunch of things, or I can spend 30 minutes with you on Zoom, and you can show me what I need to do.
I think that's genius. I mean, there's opportunities because Zoom doesn't have support for people on free or pro accounts. There's probably an opportunity there to do tech support for them. But what are they going to pay? $5, $10, like Fiverr or something?
Right.
But in Zoom events, you're probably dealing mostly with corporations who have a budget, and if they don't want to figure it out, they're going to be willing to pay someone to facilitate that, right?
Right. And the big difference is they've got Zoom professional services, and you're welcome to make, you got to sign a contract and get it through your account manager, and they charge $300 an hour with a 3-hour minimum.
Yeah.
But what I've tried several approaches to people within the Zoom events group that, look, there are many of us who know and understand Zoom events enough that we can really help these people who are potential large Zoom event clients, but who don't have the budget that Glassdoor has. The big session that I went to at Zoomtopia had Julie from Glassdoor singing the praises of the Zoom Events professional services team. Well, they're a $500 million a year company. They've got plenty of bucks to hire them. My clients typically have $50,000 a year budgets total. they're going to spend a couple of grand on an event. There are those of us that are ready and willing and able to help these people along, not for free, but not for $300 an hour either. And so far, I've gotten no interest from Zoom in actually helping us help them. I try to couch this in the area that we're going to help you sell Zoom events licenses by helping the people who get them use them. I know of 3 different people, and my New Zealand client is one of them, who got in contact with somebody because they saw the thing that you can get a trial Zoom events license for 2 weeks. And what you get is an email that says the license has been deposited in your account. Here's a couple of links if you want to go learn about it. And that's why he reached out to me.
It's kind of like Zoom Community too. Zoom Community is volunteer to be a community moderator, and they give you a coffee mug once in a while. They give you a hat. They give you something. I don't do it for that. I do it to practice my troubleshooting skills. I do it for myself to hone my ability to help people in my day job, not for that coffee mug. I don't need another coffee mug, but
it's just, yeah, it's interesting. I remember having a conversation early with Jeff Wigren about, what we like about the Zoom community. And I said, I just love helping people. And he goes, no, you like it for the badges that you get. You get all these badges and stuff. Well, the badges are nice, but I all my life, I really have just like, how can I help you?
I just
know
got a
some
badge
stuff
today.
And I help you. Yes, we did.
You guys, the 2024 badge.
Yeah.
That's called gamification. But
I haven't done a damn thing, but I got a badge somehow.
You existed.
You
But
showed up.
so I help people on community mostly. It's nice to help people, but it's also a way for me to keep my skills sharp and hear about problems I don't hear every day. Like sometimes it's fun to pick off the really strange ones and see if you can figure them out.
Yeah. And an occasion when I find 4 or 5 or more, reports all at the same time about something, I'll reach back into some of the Zoom community staff and go, hey, is this really something that really is an issue? And back when we, upgraded to, 5.15, and they moved all of the icons around on the client from, I don't know, the home page to the meetings page and swapped all that stuff around. And I got 30 things that morning, and I just said to Alexis or one of them, hey, there's a real issue here. And the next day they reverted all that stuff. And they said, thanks for letting us know, because we weren't really getting it from our exposure on the Zoom community.
What I hear a lot is that Zoom support is terrible. And what I would say is that's not true if you have access to Zoom support. Zoom support is very good. I have very good interactions with Zoom support. It's that most people can't get access to Zoom support.
Yeah. I have to say my experience with the ticket system, because I typically don't have access to Zoom support, is it's a word I don't use very often, pedantic. Oh, have you installed the latest client? Have you, and very clearly I put in the thing, look, I've done all of this, and there's a major problem right here because your document says this, and that's not the way it works. But I have to go through the rigmarole before I can actually talk to tier 2.
Try to talk to your internet service provider or they all have a flow chart that the staff follow. But what I like about Zoom as a system administrator, there's a lot of information in the Zoom admin portal where you can see all kinds of reports. There's all kinds of information. I can look at people's meeting statistics. I can look at their past meeting statistics. I can see their CPU. I can see their bandwidth. I can see how much RAM. I can say, oh, did you know that your CPU was at 100% the whole time that your meeting was crashing? Like, there's a lot in there that I can see and I can diagnose without having to ever contact Zoom for help.
And the only one time that I've ever really tried to leverage, because I spend more than $200 a month and I'm supposed to be able to actually make a phone call, is that you're supposed to give your host key while you're in the dial-in process. And I still have a 10-digit host key. and it requires a 6-digit host key. So, one of these days I'll get that fixed.
You have a 10-digit host key?
I do have a 10-digit
You're so
digit
strange.
host key.
There's also 11-digit host keys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the call intake system requires 6.
Yeah. I know Fred has to jump. Fred, have a good weekend. I also have to jump. I passed host to Mike. You guys can keep on chatting here, but just want to wish you guys a lovely weekend.
See you all next time. Thank you.
Take care, Fred. Take care, Dave. Back to my my question with you, Ray. I was curious about when it comes to clients that you potentially will look into or that are looking for help. I'm wondering if it's easier to talk to a company that's already doing local in-person events, and are they easy enough to train? Like, is the verbiage used in Zoom translatable for those type of companies enough?
I would have to say I don't have a single client in the Phoenix area. So, most of the people that I've been talking to who have had in-person events are generally small nonprofits, and one person typically handles making arrangements at a hotel, and everyone gets together on a call and says, oh, let's have it in Las Vegas or wherever they're going to have it. And someone takes care of all of that. And the reality is, they push a lot of that off on the people that they end up talking to. Hey, can you make sure we have this, and this, and make sure we have that, and hotel arrangements. Okay, here's a link and for people to register and that sort of stuff. And I do that a lot for them from the virtual meetings as well. They go, we want is 30-minute sessions, and we want to have 2 webinars, and we want it to be Monday and Thursday, and then I just sort of do the stuff on the back end and contact them when I've got questions. There's not a whole lot of only one of my clients really has sort of had a very large staff, and they've done events, but they were very much like, this is going to be our first Zoom events thing, and you tell us what we need to do, and they sort of went with it and ran with it. It was pretty cool.
Okay, because the reason for asking was I was curious because I'm trying to figure out if Zoom actually is properly using the events industry, shall we call it, terminology in the Zoom events platform close enough so that if I come from the events industry, will it translate to me quick enough that is like, oh, okay, so I go in here and this is where I'm doing the bios, and I go in here and this is where I'm adding the bio pictures.
Yeah, I think the analogy answer to that is if you're in a 747 and you're going to go over into an Airbus, there's enough. We know flaps, and we know engine starts, and we know checklists and that sort of stuff. But there's a difference. And there really is there's a familiarization time, I think, that occurs with most of the people who, pre-pandemic never did anything but on-site events. And yeah, there's some terminology. Oh, we want to have an expo. Oh, it's not the same.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We want to have concurrent sessions. Well, that really is sort of the same, but you don't have to put which room numbers are they going to be in. It's just right there, and when it lights up, they can click join, and yeah, it's a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah, I know that a lot of Zoom events, platform usage events that I've gone to have been done severely poorly, where majority of the time, 9 times out of 10, they just basically have the lobby going, and the main event is happening in the lobby, and they might have another room that people are supposed to go to, and that is officially a Zoom event that.
Yeah.
And I've been to a few of those, and it just, to say that it's turned me off in the regards of, it just not being done. I just know that the platform could do so much more, but yet they're doing so much less with it. And the lobby should be not the main meeting, should not be in the lobby.
Right.
right?
Right.
The lobby is the
There's several
lobby.
things. There's several things that a couple of us have tried to do, and we've had to develop workarounds to do it. And one of those is sort of developing a kiosk that you can see in the lobby that tells you what's coming up now. And what I tried to do, and it worked out okay, but not the way I wanted it to, with my event last April with the Upledger Institute, is we actually created a separate meeting room that we live streamed to the lobby. And the guy who was sort of their moderator came in and started talking about, up next we've got Fred talking about this topic, and you'll see the join link, the join button light up here in a couple of minutes, and when you do, just come right on in. And that was visible from the lobby. But is there a way to do that sort of behind the scenes? No, what actually happened is people actually saw the join link on that broadcast lobby booth meeting, and people started coming in there like, oh, this is cool. We're seeing yeah, but okay, now we're closing. You're going to have to go to the actual meeting that we were talking about. Oh, okay, there was some confusion there. So that sort of thing. And they've done some updates in the last couple of months. One of those is making an announcement in the lobby that you can actually schedule announcements for certain times, and the announcements can have buttons like coming up next is blah 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 and his thing, and you can make the button that will take you straight to that event, that session. So they've done some of those things. I'm sure listening to customer complaints and feedback and so forth. And I think as many of us have said, they're making improvements month by month when they make these releases. They're pretty cool.
Because I'm just curious, do you actually need, for the lobby meeting, I'll use that terminology loosely, do you actually need to be in a Zoom meeting for the lobby, or can it just be an encoder that's sent to the lobby?
The lobby is itself a separate piece of the application, and so it's not a meeting. But yes, to get something to come up on the lobby display, you can have videos that play. You can make a video that plays through there, I believe, last I checked. But you can't really have, and you can stream actual in-progress webinars and meetings. One of the things that several of us talked about is don't turn on the live stream of your meeting to the lobby and leave it on, because people will just watch it from the lobby. Live stream to the lobby for 3 minutes and then turn that live stream off, and people will go, uh-oh, what happened? And hopefully we'll find the actual meeting or webinar in the itinerary. And that's what we're starting to find. It's not rocket science. People kind of figured this out kind of quickly once they go, oh, I wanted to see that. Oh, look, it's down here. I click the join button and I'm in. And then they don't have that problem anymore.
Right, because I even found, even when I was watching Zoomtopia too, that majority of the time I was just in the lobby, because whatever was happening was in the lobby, which didn't make any sense to me either, because they wanted everybody to go to different meetings, right?
If you were at a live conference and there was a wall board in the lobby and they had cameras in the main keynote area and you were watching the main keynote speaker in the lobby, you might just stand there and watch that. So the analogy is not much different. There's a thing to being in the group with everybody, all 5,000 participants or whatever. And you might go, oh, that's cool. Where's the actual event? And the sort of turning it off after 2 or 3 minutes sort of forces people to go find that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm just, to me, I actually see a bit of a missed opportunity where I could actually have, and I'll use, since we're in the Windows world, vMix being broadcast to the lobby, where I'm controlling vMix, and I've brought in, I can now control in vMix, bringing in the Zoom meeting temporarily, and then I can mix out of it, right?
Yeah,
Or even if this is in production studio, like Zoom production studio too.
what I've suggested is if they could just make one of the sessions, for lack of a better term, incognito. I can check the box and it's incognito, and only the people that I invite into it can get into it or see it, and nobody else can see it. Then I could say, Frank and Mike, meet me over here, and let's do a stream to the lobby, and we'll talk about the things that are coming up. And we can use vMix, we can use Production Studio, whatever we want. We can stream to the lobby, and maybe there's a break in between sessions and we're just filling up space, and people go, hey, it was the 3 guys in the lobby. That's how I found out about your session. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Because again, this is very common.
Yeah.
This is very common when you go to like an Infocom or such. You will have like them having a little mini panel in the lobby where people that just want to break from being in the exhibitor hall will go out and just watch for a few minutes.
Right.
They'll have brand people come in and being interviewed and showing off their latest brand, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you want to, then you've had enough of listening, or that brand doesn't impress you because you're in the lobby now and you want to go back in, and you can go back in, right? That's to me, it's like a bit of a missed opportunity for Zoom if I don't have the capability of being able to control the lobby a lot more as its own, because it is being streamed, the lobby.
And we've talked about Zoom's development approach of, let's get something out there and see what happens and respond to the comments. And I think, your point about it being a missed opportunity is probably right on, but is sort of the not the way Zoom really kind of does things. Let's put this together and see what people really are demanding, sort of, oh, we need to do this, and we'll find a way to do it. So, yeah. I would have liked to have seen it there already, but I'm guessing something will come up pretty quick.
Because I'm curious what actually the Zoom events team actually does when they actually are setting what feed to the lobby versus what feed are going into the meetings, right?
Yeah, that
During
technical
Zoomtopia.
piece I don't have a good answer for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Lois is back. Hello, Lois.
All that medical stuff is taken care of and I'm back. And while I was out there, I went and read some more on the link that you had posted in the chat about the connectivity testing.
Okay.
And it says test Zoom meeting connectivity. It goes through the thing. It says the tool will open a meeting to start the test. No, to fully test audio and video connectivity, other participants should be invited to the test meeting. So exactly what you did is what they say to do in order to test your ins and outs.
There you go.
Cool.
Perfect. So David, whatever you guys did with David, that's exactly what was happening. That's cool.
And Lois is one of those people that we can count on to actually read the instructions, where most of us just want to dive in and start clicking buttons.
Well,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually do that. People go, how'd you figure out how to do that? Well, I had the manual right in front of me and it was right there.
Yeah. Well, I've spent enough time writing instructions that I read the instructions. I try what it says to do, and if it doesn't do it right, I go, oh, they're not a good manual.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just popped back in because everything's over, and I thought I'd see if anybody was still here. So is the meeting over and the YouTube's off and everything, and it's just
no, not as yet. No, we were just chatting there about Zoom events, the Zoom events platform. And we're just talking about the lobby, as a matter of fact, the lobby portion of Zoom events. How we feel that it could be
beyond what I can get, because I've just got a basic account. So I've never even been to a Zoom event, let alone tried to run one.
But you've participated? Have you gone to see what they do at Zoomtopia or no?
Mm-hmm.
No? Okay.
At some point, we'll have to find a way to point Dave's toratestguide.com/Zoom test kitchen into an actual Zoom events URL and just have people arrive in and have the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some event there that I wouldn't mind going to, but I'm so busy doing other stuff, I never even look.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly just a collection of meetings and webinars. So with a fancy wrapper around it. That's
Yeah.
That's my view.
Well, we have, the Quakers have an annual meeting here for our Pacific yearly meeting. And they're using Zoom and they're doing it very well, but they've been doing that before Zoom events existed. And
Yep.
so they're doing the entry is a meeting, and then you're put in different places, in different breakout rooms for different, activities. And then there's a couple of things that require having breakout rooms, and so there's when you come in and you need to go there, they'll post a link in the chat and you can click that and you get out of this meeting and into that meeting. And it's all extremely well run. There's a greeter who knows everything about running these kinds of meetings and does a really good job.
In theory, Ray, basically what Lois is explaining is Zoom events platform just done within a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. And there have been a couple of my clients that have done things with just Zoom webinars and meetings where they use, one of my clients uses a thing called Guidebook that has all of the sessions and all of the things. And anytime you need to click to go somewhere, all of the links are right there and all of the registrants get a copy of that. It includes copies of the presentations and notes and that sort of stuff. And that is kind of a nice little package too. But Zoom events gives the event planners the opportunity to also put in PDF files and so forth in each of the meetings and webinars and also in the lobby, so that you can click on a thing and download a PDF and read something. And if you're going to have an expo with exhibitors and that sort of thing, they also have the ability to provide those resources so that people can download them and take away just like you would at a regular conference. So
Sounds pretty exciting.
So PowerPoint slides. So if there's a PowerPoint slide deck that's being shared during the meeting, then you could download that off of these events platform.
And the other thing that some of my clients don't use, but most of them really, really enjoy, and that is the fact that if you're having an international crowd and a couple of your sessions are going to be at just an ungodly hour for people who are in, I don't know, Manila or wherever on the globe, the sessions can be, with a little check mark, automatically recorded. And within the sort of Zoom processing time of about an hour, where there was a join button to get into the meeting, a button that says watch recording appears, and people can come into the lobby afterwards and go, oh, I missed that session. Click the watch recording and can watch the recording. And the lobbies can be left open for up to a year. And so you can actually have that recorded content made available to people for as long as you want them to have access to it.
As a matter of fact, Ray, I think Zoomtopias do that, right? They leave theirs open for a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course,
so
the other
Lois,
thing
if you are curious to see, if you are curious to go see an archive of the Zoomtopia, you could actually still sign up for.
What's the URL? Zoomtopia.com? No.
I believe that the Zoomtopia.com URL still works. I don't know if you can actually get a registration from that, but if not, I'll gather some information for next time.
Around that, but right now I'm focused on healing up, and I don't think I'll go exploring. But I like the fact that it's going to be there for a year.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
When did Zoomtopia happen?
Third week in October.
Okay. Is there going to be another one, or was it a one-off?
Nope. Every year. Every year.
Yeah. So next year, they've already got on their site right now, October 8th and 9th.
Good.
Of this year.
Nice.
Sounds like that would be a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
well,
it was my first time there.
Have some lunch, so I will see you some other week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, Lois. Okay, cool.
All right, I'm gonna have to run. I got a couple other things I gotta do too this afternoon, and my New Zealand client is calling me at or we're getting on a Zoom call around 5:15 this evening. The time in New Zealand is 4 hours earlier than here in the Mountain Time Zone, but a day later. So it'll be
Right.
1:15 on Saturday when we talk for him. So
Time travel.
yeah,
Time
yeah,
travel. Yeah.
Everyone have a great weekend.
great.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Take care,
guys.
Frank.
Talk to you again next week.
Bye, Ray.
See ya.
Yeah. And I'll say bye to everybody on YouTube. Thanks for joining us on YouTube every week, guys. And we'll see